Today's topic, diabesity. Cool word, huh? Bad disease. It's one of those things that, when we fail to fix something, it compounds. Okay? We failed to fix diabetes in this country. We failed because it's more rampant than ever. And on top of the diabetes, we have added an obesity problem in adults and now our children. And for the first time ever, malnutrition is the cause of obesity. Think about that. The obesity epidemic is not because we're eating too much food, it's because we're eating too much food without any nutrients. So that's compounded the diabesity problem. And now we have, the diabetes problem, and now we have diabesity, a combination of the two. So it is very, very serious. When you take diabetes and you combine it with obesity, you get the most dangerous epidemic in America today. You heard a lot of them, right? Heart disease is still the #1 killer, but what's a big part of heart disease? If you know anybody with heart disease, they're probably diabetic, or at least insulin resistant. Have you heard the term metabolic syndrome? Do you know what it is? It combines 4 things: obesity, insulin resistance, hypercholesterolemia, and hypertension. Hypertension, high blood pressure. Okay, so those 4 things make up metabolic syndrome. 30% of the Americans in this country are classified as obese. 30%. 30%. That's a lot. How many people in this country? What is it now? Are we 300 million? 300 million? That means 100 million people are. 100 million people. 2/3 of Americans are just overweight, not considered obese, but overweight. Is it because we eat too much? Or is it because what we're eating is not real food? Is it because what we're eating is nutrient deficient food, loaded with chemicals and preservatives? It's not real food. And when your body doesn't get nutrition, what does it do? It feels like it's starving, so it eats more. Your hunger never goes away because you're never nutritionally satisfied. So you eat more and more. 40% of our children are obese. 40%. Now, how many of you were in school in the 60s? Okay, lots like me. How many, remember, overweight kids were there in your class? 1, 2, couple. Today, 4 out of 10. That's a lot. Things have changed. Lots of things have changed. What did we do as kids? Walked to school. Walked to school, walked home, ate lunch, walked back. After school, went outside, dropped off your books, didn't even do your homework, went outside to play while there was still daylight. What do kids today do? Get driven to the bus stop, okay, after they've gotten up and maybe had a Pop-Tart or Fruity Pebbles. Get ridden to the bus stop, get on the bus, go to school, eat the school cafeteria lunch. What's in that? Chicken nuggets, pizza, hamburgers, hot dogs, nachos. Didn't get up off their butts. Get back on the bus, go home, and exercise the only part of their body that's in shape, their thumbs. Things have changed. Look at this statistic. They are predicting 1/3 of American children born in the year 2000 will develop obesity-related diabetes while they're still in their teens. Type 2 diabetes, which is lifestyle caused and lifestyle cured. It's not type 1 we're talking about here, which is a physical genetic disorder that shuts down your pancreas and it does not make insulin. Type 2 is when your pancreas has been overworked, overburdened by sugar-laden foods, and it can't keep up. And it fails. It used to be called adult onset diabetes because it never happened to anybody under 40 years old. Look at that statistic. While they're in their teens. This is a tragedy. 100% of these obese children are malnourished. So, you know, those old commercials we used to see of the kids, those poor kids in Africa that were skin and bone with a distended belly, that used to be the symbol of malnourishment. Now, it's an overweight kid, obese kid who eats everything all day long and he's malnourished. This statistic is the most frightening of them all. For the first time in our history, this generation of children born after the year 2000 are predicted to live shorter lives than their parents. That takes the whole anti-aging market and throws it into a turmoil because they're done before they get started. They don't get a chance. Lifespan diminishing. That's scary. So, how did this happen? There it is in a nutshell. The government told us we need to go on a low-fat diet. We need to add more wheat, eat more grains, eat more bread, eliminate fat. That in a nutshell is what caused this whole problem, folks. Now, I can explain it in a lot of detail for you, but that in a nutshell is what started it. The new healthy diet guidelines, white bread, okay? But they replaced it with whole wheat bread and thought, okay, now we're doing something. I got news for you. Whole wheat bread is no better, no worse than plain old Wonder Bread. The ingredient list is identical. The wheat is still processed. Whether it's whole wheat or white wheat, it's still processed. It's still stripped. Why do you think on the ingredient list of breads do you see all of these added vitamins and minerals? Because they strip them out. This wheat is not what's coming out of the ground like it did 40 years ago. Not to mention the fact that every single wheat crop in this country is genetically modified. Every single one. There are 3 crops in this country that you really should never eat because they're not real. Wheat of any type, corn, and soy. It's a shame because soybeans are a good food, but they're all genetically modified at this point.
What about Ezekiel bread?
Ezekiel bread is a sprouted grain bread. It is a different class of bread. Yes, it's not processed wheat. It is sprouted grain, which means the grain is still alive, not overly processed. So it makes a big difference. Okay? White whole milk replaced with chocolate milk so the kids will drink it, loaded with high fructose corn syrup. Okay, this is what kids get in school. This kind of crap. All right, here's some of the stuff you see on the school lunch menus, okay? Processed chicken nuggets, mozzarella sticks, pizza and cheese sandwiches. Containing more than 30 ingredients. Now, any of you guys ever heard my label law? Have you seen me do my presentation of Joe's label law? No? It's really simple. Some of you have. You had it. I know you heard it. You're always here. Everybody tells you got to read labels now, right? Did you ever stop and read a label? Can you really read it? Can you see it? Sometimes you can't. They make that print so small. I have a simple label law. If there are more ingredients than food products on the label, don't eat it. How much food in the supermarket will that eliminate? 90%. Simple. This thing right here, high fructose corn syrup, that should be used as a poison in war. That's how bad it is. There's not a single thing natural about it. Not one single thing. It comes from cornstarch. You know how you make high fructose corn syrup? Come on, in this day and age, you can find out anything. Look it up. Google it. All kinds of chemicals and fungus, genetically modified fungus, in big old vats. And it comes out looking like this clear liquid thing. Turns out it's cheaper to produce than it is to harvest real sugar. So it's used by everybody. And don't believe those commercials. High fructose corn syrup is no different than regular sugar. Really? And regular sugar is that good, huh? Table sugar, processed, stripped, bleached, no nutrients left in it. Do you know in the countries where they grow sugar cane, there's no obesity, there's no diabetes, and they eat it right out of the field because it's a real crop. But when you process it, strip it, bleach it, take everything that's good out of it, then it becomes a chemical. Okay, you don't have to look it up anymore. Now you have it on your little handout there, okay? Okay, so our friendly government, the United States Department of Agriculture, allows high fructose corn syrup to be added to all these things. Some of you might be surprised. Well, you know soda, crackers, cookies, cakes, jams, jellies, nut butters, soup, pickles, salad dressings, ketchup, mayo, relish. The number one condiment in this country is Heinz ketchup. Number one. Third ingredient on the bottle, high fructose corn syrup, after water and tomatoes. And our kids eat it on everything. Everything. It's everywhere. But, give credit where credit's due, Heinz does make an organic ketchup without high fructose corn syrup. All right? I give them credit. They are. I don't think they advertise it, though, because nobody seems to know about it. You do now, though. Look for it. If you're going to use it, that's the one you want. Granola bars. Who eats granola bars? You don't have to raise your hand because you know I'll pick on you. Don't eat granola bars. Where are they? Is it grown anywhere? No, it's grown in a factory. It's made and formed and cut and wrapped. Someone once told me, a good friend of mine, a clinical nutritionist on the West Coast, said that a wrapper is nothing more than a coffin for a dead food. Think about it. Is that wild? But it's so true. If it has to be in a plastic wrapper, it can't be alive. And our whole goal is to eat whole, live foods. You know, I think when people 50, 60, 100 years from now look back on the 1970s, they're going to call it the dark ages of this country. Because everything that's bad about our food supply and our diet started in the 70s. High fructose corn syrup, hydrogenated fats and oils, non-fat, low fat, added grains, all the wheat you want. Soybean oil in every single packaged food in the supermarket. I challenge you, go and look at these labels. Every single one will have, so I saw a jar of mayonnaise. I love egg salad. I like to make my own, but I love it. So I'm trying to find a mayonnaise I can use. I did find one later, an organic one made from grapeseed oil. But I saw a jar of mayo and it said olive oil mayonnaise on the front. This is good. Picked it up, turned it around. First ingredient, soybean oil. 8 or 9 ingredients down was a little bit of olive oil. And just because they put a little bit in it, they could put it on the front of the label. We can't do that here, but they can do it. So I didn't eat egg salad for a long time until I found this organic grapeseed oil one. But
So what brand did you find?
it's Spectrum. Okay. Processed foods. That term itself should tell you something. Bad. Processed is bad. Usually involves removing all essential nutrients. Sometimes they add them back in. Okay? But there's always extra sugar, usually a trans fat in the form of a hydrogenated oil, most likely soybean oil. Artificial flavors. How does anybody put anything in their mouth when the first word is artificial? Because we don't think, right? Oh, it's okay. I mean, it's there. It must be good. It must be all right. Artificial. That means it's not real. It's a chemical. We're eating it. There's only two things you can eat. Two things you can put in your mouth. Keep it clean. I'm watching you over there. Food and chemicals. There's nothing else. There's nothing else. If it's not grown in the ground, on a vine, on a tree, if it didn't have a mother, if it didn't swim in the ocean or fly in the air, it's not a real food. Have you ever heard it put that way before? It's true. One lunch pizza in a New York City school had more than 25 different ingredients, including azotocarbonamide. Well, it's even hard to say. Okay, it's a component used to bleach foods, and it's a defoaming agent in the production of plastic, and it's an ingredient in a school pizza. And our kids are obese, and our kids are going to die young, and they have diabetes. Look at this. This is a chef in the nutrition system for Berkeley, California. She said U.S. children are being fed to death. This is depressing stuff, isn't it? And I'm sorry about that. But you got to see this first before you can get to the cure, to the answer, right? Because there is. Why are corn, soy, beef, wheat, pork, why are they all used? Because they're government subsidized. That's why the schools have to use them. Schools can't go out and buy organic beef. It's not subsidized. Okay? So we're at the mercy of these agencies. Loaded with genetically modified organisms, antibiotics, and hormones. Hormones. Okay? If there's one thing that you walk out of here today and change, other than eliminating high fructose corn syrup from your diet and your family's diet, and a hydrogenated, okay, I can't do just one thing, I'm sorry. But if you eliminate that and you eliminate hydrogenated oils, there's one thing you must do. Change your protein consumption to organic. More than fruits, more than vegetables. If you eat beef, chicken, eggs, cheese, you must buy organic. Beef must be grass-fed. Chickens should be pastured. Eggs should be from pastured hens. Okay? It's the one thing you can do to save your children and your grandchildren so that they're not injected daily with hormones, with estrogens, with antibiotics that is destroying their immune system so they're susceptible to all of these infections out there. And we're bombarded daily with the scare tactics of the media. This virus, that virus, this flu season, that one, what's coming next? They scare the hell out of you because they want you to get that flu shot. And you know what's coming next? The Ebola vaccine. That's what's coming next. I ain't getting one because I ain't ever getting Ebola because I know what to do. I know how to fortify my immune system. I know what will keep me strong. Unfortunately, some people will not have a choice. When it comes to diet and health, the key is individual responsibility. I had a workshop the other day on the movie Fed Up. Anybody see that movie, Fed Up? Haven't even heard of it. Anybody hear of the movie Fed Up? Okay, good. Well, you can get it on Netflix and iTunes too. Oh, you can watch a movie once in a while. You know, you're going to get picked on the rest of this. You realize that. Okay. Fed Up is a movie. It's a documentary about kids and obesity and sugar consumption. Just everything we've been talking about. When I watched it, I just sat there amazed because finally, because it was being narrated by Katie Couric. I thought mainstream media finally is getting it. What they're telling us is all wrong. And our kids are being told just eat less and exercise more and you'll lose weight. That doesn't work. Calories in, calories out doesn't work. Tell me this, is there a difference between eating 2,000 calories of all sugar and 2,000 calories of protein and carbohydrates? Would it make a difference in your body? You think? Yeah, it'd make a huge difference in your body. Because a calorie is not just a calorie. They're not equal. They cause different chemical reactions in your body. Some good, some bad. Sugar is all bad. All bad. There's only one type of sugar you should ever eat. You know what it is? Fruit. Stevia there's only some that are good. Some go through more processing than others. Sweet leaf is a good one. Okay, that one goes through very little.
Better than
Splenda is an artificial sweetener. There's not a single thing natural about Splenda. Okay, don't use it.
Go with stevia.
Yes, if you're going to use a sweetener, there's only one, and that's stevia. But make sure it's a good stevia, there's nothing else in it. Because some of them they combine with aspartame or something else, or Splenda. I seen, what's the one that combines Splenda with? I forget the names of it. I just don't use them.
What about xylitol?
Xylitol is a sugar alcohol, and it's a decent substitute when you have to use a sugar, like cooking, baking, things like that. Yeah. Yeah. It's better than regular sugar, but it's not great. It's not great. Okay? Diet candy is worthless poison. Don't eat diet candy. Don't eat diet anything. Because if it's diet anything, it has an artificial sweetener in it. And artificial sweeteners are doing more damage than real sugar is to our bodies. You need to just start eating fruit and get out of the candy.
I don't buy that.
Uh-huh. The point of this slide was we need to take responsibility. We do. Not the government, okay? The movie Fed Up, it showed Michelle Obama in a lot of the movie. She's doing this MOVE campaign with kids. All well and good. But I got news for you. Her campaign originally included food and diet changes in the schools, not just exercise. But then who joined her coalition? You know who joined her coalition? Pepsi, Kellogg, Sara Lee. They contributed tons of money to this coalition, and all of a sudden it changed from food and exercise to just exercise. And that's a fact. Okay, and they all declined to be interviewed for the movie Fed Up. Exercise alone doesn't do it. Not when you're eating crap. Because your body needs food for fuel. And if you put, rubbing alcohol in your engine, in your car, it's not going to run. We put better stuff in our cars than we do in our bodies. Starts at home. What do? Small changes, small steps. Nobody likes big, massive changes, right? They'll revolt. Kids will revolt. You'll revolt. You're revolting right now. I can see by the looks on your faces. It's too expensive to eat natural, right? You know not to agree with that, don't you? You're starting to catch on. That's the argument, though. It's too expensive. I can't buy organic foods. I can't buy all natural. I have to buy this packaged, easy-to-use stuff because the other stuff's way too expensive. So my next challenge is this. I want you to go into your kitchens and go into your children's kitchens that are adults. I want you to look into the refrigerator and on the cabinets and the pantries, and I want you to see how much food is in there in boxes and bags and jars and cans that's been in there for months, weeks, months, sitting there that they'll probably never eat, but they bought and it sits there, and that is a waste of money. There isn't a person in here that hasn't looked in their refrigerator, saw something that's 6 months old and threw it out. I've done it too. I don't do it as much anymore. I only shop I shop for a couple of days and I go back. And I know everybody can't do that. So you got to make small steps. But it's not too expensive. If we eliminate the money we waste on junk in our kitchens, you'd have all the money you need to eat naturally and eat well. Think about that. Protein. That's where it all starts. These starchy carbs, oh my God. Carbohydrates, protein, and fat. That's all there is. Okay? Fiber, yeah. But the three main macro food categories are protein, carbohydrates, and fats. Carbohydrates mean vegetables. Vegetables. Not processed carbohydrates that are made in a factory. Okay, you're looking up here and you're saying, he's Italian. He's trying to tell us he doesn't eat pasta. Of course I eat pasta. However, now I have found a gluten-free pasta that's actually really good. And it's in the refrigerator. It's fresh. It's in the refrigerated portion of the supermarket, of Giant Eagle, actually. You can find them because it isn't about the pasta. It's all about the sauce anyway. Sauce will make any pasta good. But you can find it, and yeah, I still do. I still eat it. And you know what? Once or twice a month, I still eat bread. Mancini's. Made fresh every day, 6 ingredients. Unbromated wheat. That's important. You know why? Because about 30 years ago, they replaced iodine in bread recipes with bromide, which robs iodine from your body, which is why we have an ongoing upscaling thyroid problem in this country, because iodine is the key nutrient for the thyroid. Used to be in our bread, not anymore. Used to be in all baked goods, not anymore. I guess they knew they could sell lots of Synthroid. Metabolic syndrome. I'm going to move on a little bit, folks, because we got more to get through. Protein, protein, protein. That's where everything has to start. Okay? And these diets that have been eliminating protein, putting like everything in the grains, that's where we're getting all this problem. Now, like I just said to you a few minutes ago, please try and make your protein organic. And if you can't get good organic protein, diminish what you eat and subsidize it with a really good protein shake for you and your family. There's nothing wrong with that. You got 2 great protein shakes back here. One is made from whey that comes from grass-fed New Zealand cows, antibiotic and hormone-free. Okay, so if you can't find meat like that, use this instead. Eat fish. Eat fish. I know not a surgeon, but a brain specialist, MD in New York, who said his motto is eat fish till you grow gills. You know, that's a great protein source. If you can't find grass-fed beef or pastured chicken, eat more fish. You know, in Pittsburgh, it's funny because when you tell people to eat more fish or more seafood, they think you're talking about going down to the oyster house and getting a fish sandwich. They're good, aren't they? But that should be part of the old 80-20 rule. 20% of the time, just have fun. But 80% of the time, you got to eat everything right. Your body will thank you for it. The other protein back here is the Super Shake. Now, if you want a vegetarian source of protein, it's the best on the market. I'll tell you why. Because normally, vegetarian proteins were incomplete in their amino acid profile. So you weren't getting all your amino acids like you would get from eating beef or chicken or eggs. However, that's because most of the vegetarian proteins were only one source, like rice. This one is 3 sources: rice, pea, yellow or legume, and pumpkin. Because of the 3 different sources, it now has a complete amino acid profile. So it is the only vegetarian protein powder worth using because you get a full profile of amino acids. Okay? Super Shake, best way, lots of fish. Grass-fed beef, pastured eggs, and chicken. Eggs is one of the most perfect foods on the planet. And you know that? Remember when it got the bad rap? Remember when they said don't eat eggs because it's going to raise your cholesterol because they thought cholesterol was bad? They still do. You know that study? Do you know what study determined that? Everybody remembers when that happened, right? Eggs became taboo. One study was done, and they didn't use eggs. They used a dried egg powder that had already oxidized. You know, when you go to those hotels and they have those breakfast buffets, don't eat the scrambled eggs. They're not made. Do you think they've got 5 dozen eggs back there they're cracking and scrambling? Oh, that's a powder. They had water. It's already oxidized when that happens, and that is bad. Eat real eggs. Eggs is the most perfect food there is. All the vitamins, all the fats, all the nutrients, amino acids, complete everything. And I even argue this point. I've argued it with Dr. Heinemann and Dr. Weiner, and I say even vegetarians can eat eggs because the egg is not the chicken. The egg is what nourishes the chicken. It's not a chicken until it's incubated. So even vegetarians can eat eggs. No one want to argue that with me.
I agree.
All right. See, you're learning. Agree with the guy that has the microphone. Protein has so many benefits. Look at this. Hormone secretion, muscle building, metabolism, testosterone stimulation, energy burning. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. You have to have protein in your diet. And our kids just don't eat enough of it, and the protein they eat is in the form of chicken nuggets or terrible burgers or hot dogs that you don't even want to know what's in them. So, start with the diet. Start with the food you eat. It always starts there, no matter what. That's where it starts. And it starts at home. And if the school lunches are that bad, try to make up for it with breakfast and dinner. You got to take little steps. We can't change the world today, but we can take steps toward changing it tomorrow. This is your nutritional prescription for diabetes prevention and treatment. Okay, because diabetes is something that doesn't just happen overnight. It takes time. Your body goes through stages. First, you go through insulin resistance before you get full-blown diabetes. So if that is happening and your sugar is constantly elevated, and when you go to your doctor, ask him for a hemoglobin A1C test. That's the test, the true test. Fasting blood sugar tests don't show you anything but what you ate yesterday. You need an H1C, hemoglobin H1C. That shows you a 3-month period of your sugar and your insulin. That's the one will tell you where you really stand. So you have Sugar Solve, one of the best products I've ever seen for sugar metabolism, for insulin regulation, because it has so many different things that work synergistically. Chromium and vanadium. You know, when I've done some of these heavy metal tests, they also show you your mineral density. And I've had several people, their chromium was non-existent. They are on the road to diabetes. Chromium is one of the most important minerals, along with vanadium, for regulating sugar metabolism and producing insulin. Alpha-lipoic acid, cinnamon extract, Gymnema sylvestre, B vitamins, taurine, all work in different pathways, but to the same end result, to keeping insulin in check. Yes?
Is there a certain form of chromium?
Chromium, polynicotinate is the one to use. The best whey protein we just talked about, that should be in your program. Neuropathies, that also has a synergistic blend of nutrients. That's when that pain has already set in the limbs, in the feet, in the hands. Okay, the neuropathy pain because of lack of circulation from diabetes. Usually you're already a diabetic when that happens. Neuropathies will ease that pain. And a real simple addition is Pro Oranges that anybody can do. You know, your kids can use this. They can, instead of orange juice in the morning, Pro Oranges would be great. Mix it with some good water, not tap water, and that's all they need in the morning instead of orange juice, along with their, give a couple hard-boiled eggs maybe, you know. Eat them on the way to the bus, in the car, because they're not walking. What's that? Filtered water. Filtered water that doesn't come from your spigot, because that's loaded with chemicals, chlorine, fluoride, all kinds of stuff. That helps. Anything will help. Any charcoal filter will take some things out. It won't take out everything, but every little bit helps. Okay? And if you are using filtered water, make sure that you wash your vegetables and fruit in it as well, that you cook with it. Okay? Make your ice cubes with it. I've seen people get bottles of water and get ice cubes from the tap. I mean, you thinking this through?
How about bathing with it?
I use one of the filters back here that takes out the chlorine. Okay, because chlorine's one of the worst things you can do. We shower in it every single day. If you don't have a filter, these filters back here take out all the chlorine. They're great. Okay, summarize. Food. Food is the beginning and the end. It affects the hormones, insulin, and cortisol. Okay, these are the major hormones that are involved in sugar metabolism. You've got to get these high glycemic foods out of your diet. Okay, they stimulate the hormones in the wrong way. Store fat, gain weight. Okay, balance your diet. You don't have to memorize this because I already gave you the handout. But your protein, about 35%, 40%, healthy fats, 25% carbs. Those carbs should be vegetable source. Okay, and the fats should be good fats. Olive oil, coconut oil, nuts, okay, eggs, organic beef, those are good fats. Let me say this again, coconut oil. Coconut oil is one of the new miracle foods. It's so healthy for you. Okay, find one that's cold pressed, virgin, organic. Use it for everything. Cook with it, rub it on your skin, rub it on somebody else's skin. Dramatic pause. Eat it, get a teaspoon of it and just eat it. Wash it around in your mouth. It'll clean your teeth. It'll get rid of bacteria in your mouth. It's antibacterial, antifungal, antiparasitic. Coconut oil is amazing, and it has all the medium chain triglycerides. It has all the omegas you need. There's not a single bad thing about coconut oil. However, for years we were taught coconut oil will kill you because it was a threat to vegetable oils that were government subsidized.
Coconut has cholesterol.
Has what?
Said high cholesterol.
Oh, yeah, right, high in cholesterol. It's not even an animal-based food. How could it be high in cholesterol? I know. That's what you read, right? I know. And besides, cholesterol, you can't raise your serum cholesterol through your diet of eating cholesterol. You can do it by eating trans fats. That will cause your cholesterol to oxidize. That's when the buildup occurs. But nobody in this room makes more cholesterol than they need. Nobody. It's when it oxidizes, it becomes a problem. not how much you make. Yes, ma'am. You know what? You have a question limit because yesterday, I think you used up about all of them. But go ahead.
When I went to buy the coconut oil,
Yes.
it says 14% is saturated, and it's solid.
It should be solid. It should be solid. It doesn't liquefy until you heat it. It should be solid, absolutely.
What was the question?
She was asking, why is it solid? Should the coconut oil be solid when you buy it? Yes, it should. It should look like Crisco. Do I have another slide? Yeah, I do. Okay. Okay, fruits and vegetables. Look, if you can get them organic, yes, please do. But you know what's even better? Locally grown. Unfortunately, we live in Pittsburgh. You can only get locally grown 3 months out of the year. Okay? Other than that, you know what I buy? Frozen. Flash frozen. There's more nutrients in them. You know, when you go into the supermarket, into the produce aisle in January and February, where the hell do you think those are coming from? Who knows how long it took to get here? Okay? No nutrients left. They may look pretty. There's no nutrients left. Move your body. We're back to the kids. Not just the kids, but us. Come on, little things. Take the stairs over the elevator. Walk up the escalator. And walk down the down escalator. Okay, please. Is there anything else more lazy than standing on a down escalator? It's helping you. Standing, you know, we sit. We're a society of sitters, right? And I'm not talking about you right now because you got to sit here to listen to me. You could. You should be standing in the back. Lazy. Move your body. Oh, here, beware of the side effects of this lifestyle. If you start eating whole foods, real foods, and you take high fructose corn syrup out of your diet, and you take artificial everything out of your diet, and you take hydrogenated fats and oils out of your diet, and you eat real fruit, real vegetables, real fruit, organic beef, pastured chickens and eggs, eat fish, real fish. If you eat real food and you don't microwave it, throw out your microwave. Who's heard me say this before? Did you?
For heating water.
Really? It's good for heating water, especially when you have weeds you want to kill. Water them with that microwave water. Throw out your microwave. Is there anything you can do in a microwave you can't do in a stove with a little more time? Forget it. Make the time. Throw out your microwave. Radiates the food, changes the molecular structure, and destroys completely 100% of the nutrients. Some of you are in my age group. We remember when you're in my age group. Remember when the first microwave came out? What did it say on the front? What else did it say? What was the warning? Don't stand in front of it when it's on. But it's okay to eat what you put inside it. Think. Don't stand in front of it because it's going to leak radiation, but it's okay to eat the food you radiated. Throw it out. Okay, if you do all those things, change all the diet things, move your body, get rid of the chemicals, get rid of the microwave, do all the right things, there are side effects. You'll look good, you'll feel good, and you'll have great sex. Aren't those better than the side effects you see on the drug commercials? None of them say that. Not one. Thank you very much.